Diane King Hall is joining me now. We have looking at some of these names. AMD, another potential investor. Good morning, Diane.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, you are seeing gains, as you mentioned, in the chip space today. AMD, one of those that is gaining ground. And one thing that we've been watching is a report from Semaphore that Intel is in early stage discussions to add AMD as a Foundry customer. So shares of Intel actually rose on that news yesterday. Intel's been searching for anchor customers for its next-gen processing chips. It's a critical piece of its manufacturing arm, right? And so it's obviously trying to bolster that as well. Recent wins for Intel include that $5 billion NVIDIA investment, and of course the government stake earlier this year. That's been boosting investor confidence. Although Intel's a little lower today so far in the pre-market, is something that we're continuing to watch. Now, AMD currently relies on Taiwan Semi for its most advanced chips. So moving production to Intel would be a major shift here in terms of this. Analyst views are, we'll wait and see on this. Bernstein doesn't think it's going to happen because AMD are still technically rivals. At the same time, you have been seeing more of these partnerships between companies that would be normally deemed as rivals, and we've been having this conversation of the circular ecosystem as it relates to the chip space and investing in AI, Nicole.
All right, and then what's going on with FICO soaring this morning? We're seeing plenty of up arrows here on Wall Street.
A big move. FICO is shaking up things in the credit world, so shares of FICO right now jumping more than 13% at the moment, more than 14% right now. It certainly needed this win because the shares had been underperforming the broader market. The company says it will now directly license its credit scores to mortgage lenders. So in other words, this bypasses the traditional middleman, the typical credit bureaus, the likes of the Equifax, the Experian, the TransUnion. It's sending essentially shockwaves across the sector. When you look at shares of Equifax, those are down more than 7%, TransUnion down more than 8% on this news. The company is saying this is a direct-to-reseller model. It'll cut the price of a score by 50%. They're saying that this will give transparency and savings for lenders and brokers. Analysts say the move cuts into bureau margins. Still, analysts doesn't, saying, not necessarily throwing out the baby with the bathwater because consumer data and infrastructure is still in the hands of the bureaus. And so they're still central players in the broader ecosystem when it comes to credit scoring. But again, that shift is to provide greater price transparency. Under the new model, resellers will pay just under $5 per score, and there is a funded loan fee of $33 per borrower. So in other words, the lenders can start to work directly with a FICO instead of dealing with the union. So that's why the TransUnion, Equifax being dinged this morning.
Yeah, and look, Fair Isaac, FICO is the #1 performer in the S&P 500 today with this move of about 15%. And the other names, Equifax and TransUnion, with down arrows, 8% and 9% respectively. So certainly feeling the pressure today. Let's get to last but not least, looking here at Berkshire Hathaway moves when it comes to Occidental Petroleum.
Yeah, which we had indications of this at the beginning of the week with that Wall Street Journal report, but it is official. Berkshire Hathaway reaching a deal to buy Occidental Petroleum's petrochemical unit. It's OxyChem. It's a cash deal for $9.7 billion. They've again agreed to sell this deal. It's Berkshire's biggest deal in a few years since 2022, and that was back when it paid for the insurer Allegheny, and at the time it paid $11.6 billion. So this is a chunk of change. But Berkshire's been sitting on a war chest of cash, and people, analysts, and strategists have wondered when they would deploy this. Although shares of Occidental Petroleum are a little lower right now, it had been indicated higher in the pre-market. We'll see how things shake out throughout the session. The company saying it will use a good chunk of the proceeds to pay down debt, $6.5 billion. That's one of the challenges with Occidental Petroleum. It's been kind of a heavy laid down with debt, Nicole.
All right. Well, thank you for all of that, Diane. I mean, a lot there going on. Tesla's just only slightly higher now, despite some really good deliveries and energy storage numbers. Thank you, Diane. Good to see you.